Who knew we could be so thirsty? Oh, you know what? I wanted to mention something about this story because it's written in kind of a slice of life fashion, or dirty realism, which Raymond Carver made so famous, which means that the stories are just pretty much just dug straight out of life. You're not going to get any interpretation. You're not going to have any summaries. It's just going to be like a play form, which is why it lends itself so easily to doing it this way. So I guess what I'm saying is pay more attention than you might otherwise, because you're going to have to add things up by the end. It's kind of mysterious. And that's a cheat. No. Sheila. What's his name, Sheila?
Oh, Sheila Schaefer, yes.
Sorry.
Derek Moore.
Slab.
Slab.
Slabinski.
I forget, we don't have programs. Who knew we could be so thirsty? The porch light was already on, and another light was on inside. He rang the doorbell. It was nearly 3 a.m. He'd called ahead, so the man knew he was coming. The man opened the door right away. Then he grabbed his friend by the elbow and guided him in through the door.
Sorry to call so late.
The friend apologized again. He'd already apologized on the phone.
Think nothing of it.
I had no place to go. I had no one to call. I have something I need to tell you.
Then the man's wife came downstairs, pedaling down in her slippers and pajamas. Her husband was in his bare feet, wearing his robe, and beneath that, only his underwear. She yawned, but that didn't matter to anyone. She took their friend's coat and hung it over the stair rail. Then she took her friend's other elbow. Like this, the man and his wife walked their friend into the living room, and like that, the three sat down on the couch, their guest still in the middle. Then they unlocked their arms. There was only one light on in the room, a small table lamp.
Now tell us what this is all about.
She yawned again. She couldn't help herself.
But I'm keeping you up. You should really go back to bed. It's late.
Nonsense. Tomorrow's Saturday. No one here has to work.
That's right, it's Saturday. It's already Saturday.
She was delighted.
Tell us all about it. Get it off your chest.
All we did was go out to the river to look at the birds.
Why don't you get the man something to drink, honey? Are you hungry? You have dinner? Honey, make him some dinner. He's starving. Just look at him.
The woman stood up.
I bet you haven't eaten all day. I know I can't eat when we fight.
When do we fight? We don't fight, do we?
It wasn't really a fight.
I bet you haven't eaten all day. Guy forgets to eat when these things happen.
That's right.
The woman said, acting like her husband had said it first, the thing about not eating all day.
Who could eat at a time like this? It must feel like the whole world is falling apart.
It has.
But most of it's behind you now. The worst part's already over. Just a little cleanup to do. Things will look much better tomorrow.
Today. It's already Saturday, remember?
But first, you have to eat.
The man glanced at his wife.
Say, you want a drink? Bring him a drink, honey. Just look at him. Look at that face. Could that face use a drink or what?
I have water or milk to go with dinner, or I could make you some juice.
No, not with dinner. Right now. Bring him the juice right now, honey.
The man laughed at that one.
Bring him a whiskey, honey. The man needs a whiskey. And hell, it's Saturday. Bring me one. Thanks, honey.
I think I'll have one myself.
Sure, why not? It's been a while since we got a little pissed. Why not? It's good for us.
Tomorrow's Saturday, so why not?
Tomorrow? Tomorrow's today. Tomorrow's Sunday, for crying out loud.
Tomorrow is tomorrow.
You're right. You're always right. I can't seem to get it right. So, what do you say to a drink?
Whatever you say.
And don't forget his food.
The man called to his wife on her way to the kitchen.
Bring him some of that spaghetti. Fill his plate.
He turned to his friend.
When we make spaghetti, we make spaghetti. You know what I mean? Plenty of leftovers. Spaghetti's always better the second day, so you'll have better than what we had earlier. Plus, food's always better when someone else does the cooking. Isn't that right, honey?
What's that? What's right?
That food's better when someone else does the cooking? Don't ask me why. It just is.
That's right.
The woman said, now poking her head through the kitchen door.
We have all that figured out, don't we? Tell him how we figured that out while I'd go finish making our drinks.
See, I make the sauce, and she makes the noodles and the bread and the rest. We do it together, yet apart, so that there's always a surprise, some unknown. You see what I mean? I do my part, she does hers, but when we sit down to eat, it's like someone else did the cooking. Maybe sounds crazy, but it works. Works for us anyway. Do you cook?
That's great.
The friend said. Naturally, he had a hard time listening. He couldn't hold his focus on anything else. The man looked at his friend, a little embarrassed, like talking about cooking was a thing too small to talk about.
No, really.
His friend assured him.
It's the small things. Things like that, like cooking. Those things make a difference.
Here's to Saturday.
The woman said, walking across the room with their drinks on a tray.
Fancy. You should come over here more often, buddy. The wife's treating us like royalty.
Here's a royal toast. Here's to Saturdays.
And here's to good luck. To tomorrow being Saturday. See? That's good luck.
Your luck is already changing. You see that, buddy?
So, tell us what happened. Come on, buddy.
As I was saying, we went to the river to look at the birds. We'd been out there 100 times. It was like any other time.
Oh, we forgot our
Oh,
toast.
that's right.
The three touched their glasses together. The friend, the husband, and his wife all drained their glasses.
Will you look at that? Who knew we could be so thirsty? How about another?
All right.
The woman said. When she picked up her husband's empty glass, he patted her on the behind. This startled her. He never patted her on the behind. She turned to their guest.
Should I call your wife? What's her name? I don't mind calling her. I'm sure she'd appreciate knowing you were here and you were okay.
It's too late to call her now, but thank you.
You don't know how women are. We worry. We'd much rather get a late night call than no call at all. If anything, we get more sleep after the call than we get worrying all night.
I'll think about it. Thank you.
He said, handing the woman his empty glass.
Coming right up. Your dinner is warming in the oven.
The woman left the room.
We don't mind calling your wife for you.
Julia,
It might be too early to talk to her yourself, but we don't mind.
it's too late to call.
And too early to tell her you're all right. Am I right? Say, you are right. You have something there, don't you? Let her sweat a while. You know what I mean? It makes the comeback that much sweeter. It's good for her not to know where you are. Makes her think.
She's not thinking about where I am.
That's good then.
The woman returned and handed the men their drinks.
Here's to a new beginning.
Her husband said, raising his glass.
Wait for me. I left my drink in the kitchen. To a new beginning.
She said upon re-entering the room.
Many happy returns and a happy ending.
They touched glasses, then the woman went back into the kitchen.
Well, let's get the worst part out of the way, shall we?
The man said, turning to face his friend head on, he looked his friend in the eye.
Did either of you cheat? You know, sleep around? Did you get caught?
No, it's nothing like that.
That's good. Everything can be forgiven then. It's all there for you still. It's not lost yet.
I don't know. I mean, worse things can happen.
Nothing's worse than cheating. You can't know that because you've never done it. But it's the worst thing, the very worst thing. Cheating. Not every woman can get over that, and no man can. Well, not that I've seen.
Have you cheated?
Of course not. Hell no. I'm still alive, aren't I? Say, you haven't hit her, have you?
What?
And she's not hit you, right?
The woman was peeking in from the kitchen. She was listening, but then turned away, letting the men have their say.
I hear that's a thing now. Women hitting men, and it being called spousal abuse. Never heard of such a thing myself. A woman beating a man? I wouldn't have thought it possible. So, you haven't hit each other.
No, never.
That's good then.
I guess. But I think maybe there's worse things. I mean, I pushed her, so it's me who did it.
Nonsense. Like they say, it takes two to tango.
Then the woman came back into the room with a placemat and a plate heaped full with spaghetti.
You just stay comfortable where you are. Just eat.
Honey, we've been talking. What's worse than cheating on your spouse if it's not physical abuse? We can't think of anything.
Why think of such things right now? Never mind that. I don't even want to know. Besides, he's eating.
And I'm starting to agree with you.
The man said to his wife.
I'm beginning to think we should call Julia.
Julia.
The guest tried to eat, but he was obviously not hungry. He had no appetite.
That's all right, honey. Let me pick that up and get it out of your way. No one wants to smell food when they're not hungry.
Maybe I could just go to sleep.
Nonsense. The last thing you want to do is wake up tomorrow with no plan in place. Let's make a plan, then get some shut-eye. Otherwise, there's no reason to get up in the morning.
Perhaps he should get some sleep.
The woman said as she entered the room.
Perhaps all of us should. Just sleep this off.
I think I should go.
Go?
It's not something I can sleep off.
Nonsense.
Where will you go?
To find her. I left her there.
He got up and walked to the door, waving goodbye but not looking at either of his friends. He waved behind his head as he walked out the door, forgetting all about his coat.
I think we upset him. We let ourselves get into a fight.
We didn't fight. When did we fight?
We argued. That was rotten. What a rotten thing to let happen, to argue in front of him. We didn't even let him talk. Shame on us.
Where will he go at this hour? I don't remember arguing.
The only place he can go. It was nothing to worry about.
Shame on us. Were we really fighting?
Well, not like we used to.
What do you think happened at the river, do you suppose? Did he ever say?
I thought he told you when I was in the kitchen. I was going to ask. I really meant to, but I thought he told you.
There was another knock on the door, harder this time.
Poor soul.
Yes. He must have changed his mind.
The man opened the door, expecting to see his friend. He didn't say anything. Then he opened the door wide enough for his wife to see.